Hey everyone! Welcome back to Jackson, English Stories. I'm Jackson, and I'm really glad you're here today. Let me set the scene for you. Imagine this. You're sitting at your favorite coffee shop. You just got your drink. Maybe a latte. Maybe a black coffee. No judgment. At the next table, there's a group of locals chatting away in English. Their words flow like music, smooth, fast, effortless. You sip your coffee, thinking, "Man, if only I could speak like that." No pausing, no translating in my head, just speaking naturally. Sound familiar? Yeah, I've been there too.
Hi, friends, I'm Anna. And honestly, I used to feel the same way. It's that awkward moment when you know the words, but somehow they get stuck between your brain and your mouth. Like traffic jam, but in your head.
Exactly. It's not about knowing English. It's about living it. And today, we're diving into a technique that helped both of us and thousands of learners worldwide break free from that stuck feeling. It's called shadowing. And no, it doesn't involve chasing your own shadow in the sun. Although that could be fun too. Laughs.
Shadowing is basically the art of becoming the speaker. You listen, you speak almost at the same time. You mirror everything. Words, rhythm, intonation. It's like karaoke for real-life conversations. But here's the best part. You don't even need to know every word perfectly to start.
And trust me, when you first try it, it feels weird. Like, really weird. You're mumbling after the speaker, maybe missing half the words, sounding like a broken radio. But that's exactly the magic moment. Because your brain is rewiring itself to think, react, and sound more like a native speaker, without translating every word in your head, without overthinking every single sentence.
And today we're not just talking theory. Nope, we're going to walk you through everything. What shadowing is, why it works, how to start today, and even the common mistakes to avoid. Plus, we've got a 7-day challenge for you at the end, if you're ready to really level up.
And hey, even if you've tried shadowing before and gave up because it felt awkward, stick around. We'll show you how to make it feel natural, even fun. Because at the end of the day, speaking English shouldn't feel like doing homework. It should feel like living your best life.
So grab your coffee, or tea, or water, whatever's your thing, and get comfy. Today's story might just be the turning point in your English journey.
All right, let's dive right in. First up, why most English learners stay stuck, and how shadowing can break the cycle. Picture this. You're in a restaurant scanning the menu. The waiter comes over and asks, "What would you like?" And for a second, your mind goes completely blank. You know the words. You know what you want to say. But somehow, nothing comes out. Just a polite smile. And maybe a little panic inside. Ever had that feeling?
Oh, absolutely. It's like all those hours of studying vocabulary and grammar just disappear. It's not that you don't know English. It's that speaking feels like pulling words through quicksand. Heavy, slow, exhausting.
Exactly. And here's the thing nobody tells you early enough. Fluency isn't about how many words you know. It's about how fast you can use them. Without thinking, without translating, without freezing. Because in real conversations, there's no pause button.
That's where so many learners get stuck. They build a giant warehouse of English words in their brain, but the delivery system, actually speaking, doesn't work fast enough.
Right. And every time you hesitate, doubt creeps in. You start asking yourself, am I saying this right? Is my grammar perfect? Do I sound weird? And boom, just like that, the conversation ship has sailed.
But what if you didn't have to think so much? What if speaking English felt as easy as answering, "How are you?" in your own language? Wouldn't that be amazing?
That's where shadowing comes in. Shadowing flips the script. Instead of sitting there trying to build a sentence brick by brick, you train your brain to react, not overthink. It's like learning to dance. You don't memorize each step. You feel the rhythm. You move naturally.
Think about kids learning their first language. They don't study grammar rules first. They listen, they copy, they play with sounds. And guess what? They make a ton of mistakes, and they still become fluent. Laughs.
Exactly. Shadowing taps into that same natural learning process. You listen, you repeat, you mirror the sounds, the rhythm, the flow. You stop treating English like a math problem and start living it like a real conversation.
And here's a fun fact. Studies show that learners who practice shadowing for just 10 minutes a day improve their speaking speed and confidence faster than those who only study grammar for an hour.
Crazy, right? So if you've ever felt stuck, like you're trapped between what you know and what you can say, shadowing might just be the missing piece.
And don't worry, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to understand every word. You just have to show up and shadow.
Speaking of showing up next, we're gonna break it all down. What exactly is shadowing, and why it's way more powerful than simple repetition? Stick with us. It's about to get good. All right, let's set up another scene. Imagine you're at home, studying English. You've got your textbook open. You repeat after the CD. Slowly, word by word. The cat is on the table. You say it out loud. You nod. You feel good. But then, next time you're in a real conversation, the words disappear faster than ice cream on a summer day. Why does that happen?
Because repeating like a robot isn't the same as speaking like a human. Laughs. That's the big difference. Repetition is about memory. Shadowing is about motion. It's about training your brain and your mouth to move together, quickly, naturally, like a dance.
Exactly. When you repeat slowly, you're building static memory. Good for tests, maybe, but not for real talk. Shadowing is different. You listen and you speak at the same time. almost like you're chasing the words. No time to pause. No time to overthink. It forces you to react in English, not just remember English.
Think of it like this. Repetition is like lifting weights really slowly, one by one. Shadowing? It's like jumping into a fast-moving river. You have to swim with the current. You don't have time to stop and check your technique. You move.
And that movement is where the magic happens. Because real conversations aren't slow. Nobody in real life is going to say, "Hello, how are you today?" They say, "Hey, how are you doing?" And they're already 3 sentences ahead. If you wait to translate or build a perfect sentence, you're left behind.
That's why shadowing is so powerful. You train your ears to catch natural speed. You train your mouth to move without second-guessing. You train your brain to think in English on the fly.
And guess what? You don't have to get every word right. That's the beauty of it. You focus more on the rhythm, the music of English, the flow. Words can be fixed later. Flow is the harder skill, and shadowing nails it.
Let's make it even simpler. Repetition is like practicing each instrument separately. Shadowing is like playing the whole orchestra together. It's messy at first, it sounds weird, but then it starts to sound like real music.
So if you're thinking, "Isn't it confusing to speak while listening?" That's normal. At first, it feels like patting your head and rubbing your stomach at the same time. But soon, your brain adapts. And that's when English starts to feel less like a puzzle and more like a conversation.
Coming up next, we'll reveal the 5 hidden superpowers that shadowing builds inside you, all at the same time. And trust us, one of them will completely change the way you think about learning English forever.
You ready? Let's dive into the real magic behind shadowing. Up next. All right, quick question for you. When you think about learning English, what comes to mind first? Vocabulary lists? Grammar drills? Maybe a mountain of textbooks that just keeps getting taller?
Yeah, and maybe a small headache too. Laughs. But here's something most learners don't realize. When you practice shadowing, you're not just practicing one thing. You're secretly building 5 powerful skills all at once.
It's like going to the gym and somehow working your arms, legs, core, and your brain in the same workout. Pretty cool, right?
So let's break it down. First superpower, pronunciation. When you shadow, you copy the exact sounds a native speaker makes, their vowels, their consonants, their connected words. It's like tuning your mouth to a new instrument. You start hitting the right notes without even needing a music sheet.
Second superpower, listening skills. You can't shadow if you're not really listening. And by listening closely, really closely, you start hearing the tiny details most learners miss, like how going to becomes gonna, or how did you eat magically sounds like did ya eat? Suddenly, native conversations don't sound like a blur anymore. They start to make sense.
Third superpower, rhythm and intonation. English isn't a flat language. It dances up and down. It stretches some words and clips others. When you shadow, You copy that dance. And guess what? Even if you forget a word or two, the right rhythm will make you still sound fluent. Pretty powerful, right?
Fourth superpower, thinking in English. This one's huge, because when you shadow without stopping, you train your brain to skip the translate step. Instead of thinking, how do I say this in English? You just say it. It's like flipping a switch in your mind, from slow and careful to fast and natural.
And finally, fifth superpower, speaking confidence. Every time you shadow, you're speaking English out loud. No hiding, no whispering, and every time you hear yourself keeping up, even just a little, you build a tiny brick of confidence. Brick by brick, day by day, you're building a wall of fluency that nobody can tear down.
And here's a little secret. Confidence doesn't come after you get fluent. It comes before. Shadowing helps you feel fluent first, and then the real fluency follows.
So the next time you sit down to shadow, remember, you're not just repeating random sentences, you're rewiring your brain. You're building skills that textbooks alone could never teach you.
And guess what? Up next, we're going to show you exactly how to start shadowing the right way, step by step, so you don't waste time or feel lost. Stick with us, because the real practice starts now. All right, imagine this, you're feeling pumped. You just heard about shadowing. You grab your phone, you open a random podcast in English, and 30 seconds later, you're completely lost. The speaker's talking at 200 miles per hour, and you're like, wait, what? Am I supposed to repeat that? Yeah, been there, done that.
That's why having a clear blueprint matters. Shadowing isn't just listen and panic. Laughs. It's a simple process, but only if you set yourself up the right way.
So let's walk through it together. Step 1. Choose the right audio. Pick something clear, slow to moderate in speed, and close to your level. If you're a beginner, maybe start with something like Voice of America Learning English. They speak slower on purpose. If you're more advanced, you can jump into TED Talks, podcasts, even movie clips.
And quick tip, pick audio that's interesting to you. Because let's be honest, if you're bored, your brain checks out faster than you can say shadowing. Love travel? Find a travel podcast. Love cooking? Find a recipe video.
Step 2. Listen first. Before you even open your mouth, listen once or twice. Really listen. Notice how the speaker connects words, where their voice rises and falls. Ask yourself, where's the energy? Where's the emotion? Because shadowing isn't just copying words, it's copying life.
Step 3. Start shadowing. Play the audio and speak at the same time as the speaker. No pausing, no rewinding every 5 seconds. Just flow. Even if you miss words, even if you stumble, keep going. Fluency isn't about being perfect. It's about keeping the rhythm alive.
Step 4. Record yourself. I know, It sounds scary. Hearing your own voice feels weird at first. But trust us, recording is gold. When you listen back, you'll catch tiny things you never noticed while speaking. Maybe your pronunciation was off. Maybe your rhythm was a little robotic. No big deal. That's exactly how you get better.
And step 5, repeat, repeat, repeat. One run through isn't enough. Repeat the same clip 3, 5, even 10 times. Every time you shadow, you'll hear something new. You'll feel a little smoother. You'll sound a little more natural.
And here's a bonus move. Start slow, then speed up. If your audio is too fast at first, slow it down. Most apps like YouTube or podcast players let you hit 0.75x speed without messing up the sound. Then, as you get comfortable, move back to normal speed. Challenge yourself, but build up safely, like you would with lifting heavier weights at the gym.
One last thing. Be kind to yourself. Shadowing is a workout for your brain and mouth. It's okay to sound messy. It's okay to laugh at yourself. Actually, it's perfect, because that means you're learning in real time.
So, quick recap. Pick the right audio, listen deeply, shadow without stopping, record yourself, and repeat until it feels smooth. Sound doable?
Good, because up next we're going to talk about something that can make or break your shadowing practice. How to choose the perfect audio material without getting overwhelmed.
And trust me, there's one common mistake almost every learner makes when picking their practice audio. We'll show you how to avoid it coming up. All right, picture this. You're ready to shadow. You open YouTube, type English listening practice, and boom, 5 million results. Podcasts, TED Talks, TV shows, interviews, cartoons, news reports. You scroll for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and suddenly you're more stressed about picking something than actually practicing. Sound familiar?
Been there, done that. Choosing the wrong audio can kill your motivation fast. Either it's too fast and you feel like a total beginner, or it's so slow you start wondering if you accidentally clicked on a meditation video.
So here's the key question. How do you pick audio that challenges you but doesn't crush you? Good news. It's easier than you think.
Step 1. Match your level. If you're a beginner, don't jump into native speed podcasts with lots of slang. Start with slow, clear English. Think Voice of America Learning English or beginner-level audiobooks. Trust me, it's not about being tough. It's about building the right foundation.
Step 2. Keep it natural. You want real conversations, not robots. Look for content that sounds like people talking in daily life. Interviews, casual podcasts, story time videos. Those are golden.
And step 3. Pick topics you actually like. If you love travel, find travel shows. If you love cooking, find recipe videos. Because guess what? When you care about the topic, your brain works harder without you even realizing it. You stay curious. You stay focused. It's like tricking your brain into learning faster.
Here's a quick trick. When you find a clip, Play the first 20 seconds. Ask yourself, can I understand about 70% of it without reading subtitles? Does the speaker's voice feel natural, not too slow, not insanely fast? If yes, boom, you found your audio. If not, no worries. Just move on to the next one.
Oh, and don't be afraid to adjust the speed. If your clip feels just a little too fast, slow it down to 0 speed. It's not cheating, it's smart training. Your goal is flow first. Speed will come naturally later.
And bonus tip, stick with short clips at first. 1 to 2 minutes is perfect. You want quick wins, not long battles. Shadowing a 2-minute story and nailing it feels way better than getting lost in a 30-minute lecture.
So quick recap. Match your level. Pick natural conversation. Choose topics you love. Test the clip with the 70% rule. Adjust speed if needed. Start small, build big.
And remember, there's no perfect clip. There's only the one you actually practice with.
Speaking of practice, up next we're going to have some real fun. We'll show you how to shadow 3 different speaking styles: casual, formal, and fast, and how each one sharpens a different part of your English.
Trust me, you'll be surprised at how different you sound depending on the style you practice. Ready to find your voice? Let's go. Okay, let's imagine a new scene. You're feeling good. You've picked your audio. You're ready to shadow. But then you hit play, and it's not what you expected. One clip sounds super casual, like friends chatting over pizza. Another one sounds like a graduation speech, formal, polished. And the next? It's so fast you wonder if they accidentally hit the fast-forward button. Laughs. So, here's the real question. Which one should you shadow?
Surprise answer. You should practice all 3, because each speaking style trains a different muscle in your English.
Let's break it down, one by one. First up, casual speaking. This is everyday conversation, the way people talk at the coffee shop, at the park, hanging out with friends. It's full of contractions, slang, connected words. Instead of "How are you doing today?" you'll hear "How you doing?"
Shadowing casual speech teaches you how to sound natural, because honestly, nobody speaks textbook English in real life. We smush words together, we mumble a little, we drop sounds. Learning this rhythm is what makes you blend in and feel part of the conversation, not stuck outside.
Second style, formal speaking. Think speeches, news anchors, TED Talks. It's slower, clearer, and the vocabulary is usually bigger. Why practice this? Because formal English trains your clarity, your structure, and your pronunciation muscles. It's like learning to run with perfect posture before you sprint.
And it helps in job interviews, presentations, and anytime you want to sound polished. Ever dreamed of giving a speech in English someday? Start shadowing formal speakers. You'll feel the difference.
And finally, brace yourself. Fast native speaking. This is real speed. Movies, stand-up comedy, late-night talk shows. At first, it feels like trying to catch a bullet train with a bicycle. But guess what? Even if you only catch 50%, you're training your brain to move faster, think faster, react faster.
Fast speaking builds agility. You stop freezing when conversations get real and messy because you're already used to messy. And messy is good. Messy means you're alive in the language.
Here's a fun way to practice. Pick one casual clip, one formal clip, and one fast clip for the week. Shadow a little of each. Notice how your mouth, your ears, and your brain adjust differently depending on the style.
And here's a challenge for you. Which style do you think is the hardest for you right now? Casual? Formal? Fast? Drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear.
Because recognizing your weak spot is actually your superpower. It shows you exactly where to grow next.
And speaking of growth, coming up next, we're going to talk about the biggest traps people fall into when shadowing and how to avoid them. Because believe it or not, even a great habit like shadowing can go wrong if you're not careful.
So stay with us. This next part might just save you months of frustration. Let's go. All right. Let's imagine another scene. You're sitting at your desk, headphones in, ready to shadow. You hit play. First sentence, you're right on it. Second sentence, you start to wobble. Third sentence, you freeze, hit pause, sigh, and think, maybe shadowing just isn't for me. Sound familiar?
Yeah, me too. And guess what? It's not because you're bad at shadowing. It's because almost everyone falls into a few common traps when they start.
Trap number 1. Choosing audio that's way too hard. If you pick a native debate about artificial intelligence at lightning speed and you're still building basic sentences, guess what's gonna happen? You'll feel lost, overwhelmed, frustrated. Instead of feeling like a superhero, you feel like you forgot your cape at home.
How to fix it? Pick something just a little challenging but not crazy. Remember our 70% rule. If you can understand 70% without subtitles, that's your sweet spot.
Trap number 2. Only shadowing inside your head. You're listening, moving your mouth a little, but not really speaking out loud. It feels safe, sure. But it's like pretending to swim by watching YouTube videos. You're not actually getting wet.
Solution: speak out loud. Loud enough that you could hear yourself even if the room were noisy. Your brain and your mouth need to hear each other to grow stronger.
Trap number 3. Trying to be perfect from the start. You stumble over a word. You panic. You rewind 5 times, trying to get it right before moving on. And after 10 minutes, you're exhausted and nowhere closer to fluency.
Here's a better way. Forget about being perfect. Focus on flow first. It's better to shadow a whole messy paragraph than to get stuck perfecting just one sentence.
Trap number 4. Ignoring rhythm and intonation. Some learners shadow word by word, but forget to copy the speaker's music, the way their voice rises and falls. It's like playing a song with all the right notes but zero feeling. Sounds flat, right?
Fix it by exaggerating a little. Really lean into their emotion, their energy, their melody. You'll sound more natural, and trust me, it'll be way more fun too.
Trap number 5. Only shadowing once. You shadow a clip one time, feel proud, and never touch it again. But real mastery comes from repetition. Think of it like working out. You don't do one push-up and expect six-pack abs.
Best move, repeat small clips multiple times across a few days. The first time feels hard, the second time feels better. By the 5th time, you'll start feeling like a different person.
So quick recap. Pick audio at the right level. Speak out loud. Focus on flow, not perfection. Copy the music, not just the words. Repeat, repeat, repeat.
And here's a question for you. Which of these traps have you fallen into before? Drop a comment and tell us, because trust me, you're not alone.
And speaking of doing things the smart way, coming up next, we're diving into advanced shadowing techniques, the little tricks that serious learners use to level up even faster. You're gonna love it. All right, picture this. You've been shadowing for a few weeks now. You're feeling stronger, faster. Words aren't getting stuck as much. And you start wondering, is there a way to level up even faster? Well, good news. There is.
Today, we're going to share 3 powerful techniques that serious language learners use to push their fluency to the next level. And the best part, you don't need fancy tools or a private tutor to use them.
First up, blind shadowing. Sounds mysterious, right? Blind shadowing means shadowing without looking at the transcript. No reading, no peeking. Just your ears and your mouth. Why? Because real conversations don't come with subtitles, right?
Exactly. When you blind shadow, you train your brain to focus on sounds first, not on perfect spelling or grammar. At first it feels messy, like you're mumbling in the dark, but that's how your listening muscles get super strong.
Second technique, backward shadowing. And no, we're not asking you to speak backward like some magic trick. Here's how it works. You start shadowing from the end of the sentence and work your way backward.
For example, take the sentence, I would love to travel to Italy someday. First you repeat Italy someday, then to Italy someday, then travel to Italy someday, and finally the whole sentence. It's weird at first, but wow, it trains your memory and pronunciation at the same time.
And third technique, emotional mimicry. Shadow not just the words, but the feelings behind the words. If the speaker sounds excited, you get excited. If they sound serious, you match that tone. It's like becoming an actor in a movie, feeling the role, not just saying the lines.
This trick is gold because when you match emotions, your English starts sounding alive. Not robotic, not textbooky, but real. And trust me, people notice. Native speakers can feel when your words have life behind them.
So, quick check-in. Which technique do you think would be the hardest for you? Blind shadowing, backward shadowing, emotional mimicry? Think about it, because choosing the one that scares you most might be exactly what unlocks your next big breakthrough.
And remember, don't try to master everything at once. Pick one new technique this week, play with it, laugh with it. Let it feel a little awkward at first. That's how you grow.
Speaking of growth, up next, we're inviting you to a real adventure. The 7-Day Shadowing Challenge. Your simple action plan to make all these ideas real in your life.
You ready to take the first real step toward the English speaker you dream of becoming? Let's dive in.
All right. Picture this. You're standing at the edge of a swimming pool. You know how to swim. You've watched videos, read about the strokes, but the only way to actually swim, you gotta jump in. Same thing with shadowing. Today, we're not just talking about it anymore. We're inviting you to live it with a real 7-day challenge.
And don't worry, you don't need hours each day. Just 10 minutes. Seriously. 10-minute that can change your whole feeling about speaking English.
Here's the plan. Day 1 and 2. Pick a slow, clear podcast or a beginner YouTube video. Focus only on casual conversation. Shadow it 3 times. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for rhythm.
Day 3 and 4. Step it up a little. Pick a TED Talk or a news clip with a more formal tone. Listen once, shadow twice. Notice how the speaker stresses important words and try to copy that flow.
Day 5. Challenge time. Pick a scene from a movie or a sitcom you like. Yeah, it'll be faster. Yeah, you'll miss some words. Perfect. Keep going anyway. Focus on the emotion, not every tiny word.
Day 6. Blind Shadowing Day. Pick a short clip you've already practiced and shadow it without reading the transcript. Trust your ears, trust your instinct. It's like flying without training wheels.
Day 7. Record yourself. Pick your favorite clip from the week and record your shadowing. Then, play it back. Celebrate what sounds better. Notice what still feels tricky. Because noticing is winning.
And here's the best part. If you do this challenge honestly, you'll feel a shift. It might be small at first, like a door cracking open, but it's real, and it's the beginning of a whole new confidence.
Let me ask you something. Where could your English be 30 days from now if you just gave it 10 minutes a day, starting today? Kinda exciting to think about, right?
So, are you in? If you're ready for the 7-day challenge, drop a comment below that says, "I'm jumping in." We'll be right there cheering for you.
And speaking of leveling up, coming up next, we're going to talk about the real secret behind lasting fluency. Why imperfect practice is the real key to speaking naturally. You definitely don't want to miss this one. Imagine this. You're practicing shadowing. You trip over a few words. You mix up a sentence. You miss a contraction here, an intonation there. And your first thought is, I'm terrible at this. Sound familiar?
Way too familiar. But here's something we wish every English learner knew from the very beginning. Fluency doesn't come from perfect practice. It comes from imperfect practice, done consistently.
Let's break that down. When a baby learns to talk, do they wait until they can say mother perfectly before trying? No way. They babble. They mess up. They point at everything and say random sounds. And we cheer for them like they just won an Oscar.
And guess what? That messy, fearless, imperfect practice is exactly what makes babies fluent. Because every mistake they make is a little step forward, not backward, forward.
Same goes for you. Every time you stumble during shadowing, every time you mumble, miss a word, laugh at yourself. That's you getting closer, not failing. It's your brain building faster reactions, stronger pathways, better instincts.
So let's flip the story. Instead of thinking, I made a mistake, I'm bad at English, try thinking, I made a mistake, awesome, that means I'm practicing like a real speaker.
Here's a little challenge. What if you aimed to make 50 mistakes a day? 50 little proof points that you're showing up, trying, living the language. Wouldn't that feel a lot lighter, more fun?
Because the real enemy isn't mistakes, it's silence. It's staying quiet because you're scared to mess up, but when you speak, even imperfectly, you're already way ahead of the game.
And honestly, that's true not just for English, it's true for learning anything. Art, sports, relationships, life. Messy action beats perfect hesitation every single time.
So the next time you shadow and it sounds messy, wild, imperfect, smile, celebrate it, because that messy moment is exactly where fluency is born.
And speaking of building real fluency, coming up next, we'll wrap everything up with a quick, powerful recap and share some final encouragement for your journey. Because you're not just learning English, you're building a voice that deserves to be heard. All right, imagine this. You're sitting at a small cafe, maybe your favorite spot in town. A stranger walks by, hears you speaking English and smiles. Not because you're perfect, but because you sound real, natural, alive. And you realize this isn't just about learning a language. It's about building a bridge to the world.
Today you learned that fluency isn't about memorizing more rules. It's about showing up messy, practicing with heart, and building real habits. We talked about how shadowing sharpens not just your speaking, but your listening, rhythm, intonation, and confidence all at once.
You discovered how to pick the right audio without getting lost in the sea of choices. You practiced casual talk, formal speeches, and fast conversations. You learned how blind shadowing, backward shadowing, and emotional mimicry can stretch your skills in ways you didn't even realize.
You even took on a 7-day challenge, and you now know why imperfect practice is not a problem. It's the secret weapon.
So here's the big question. What will you do with all of this? Because knowing isn't enough. Doing is where the magic happens.
Maybe today is the day you stop waiting for perfect English to arrive. Maybe today is the day you start speaking a little more bravely, even if it's messy, even if it's awkward, especially because it's messy and awkward.
And if you're wondering, is it really possible for me? The answer is simple. Yes. Because you're already doing the hardest part. You're showing up. You're listening. You're trying. And that's what separates dreamers from doers.
So, what's your next step? Maybe it's starting your first shadowing session today. Maybe it's committing to 10 minutes a day for a week. Maybe it's forgiving yourself for every mistake and smiling through it.
Whatever it is, know this. We believe in you, and we're here to walk this journey with you.
If today's video gave you even one spark of motivation, leave a comment below and tell us, what's one small step you're going to take starting today? We'd love to celebrate with you.
And if you found this helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell, because we've got more real-life English stories and tips coming your way. This is just the beginning.
Until next time, keep speaking, keep smiling, and keep believing, because your voice matters, and the world deserves to hear it.
See you soon, my friends. Take care, and happy shadowing.